trying to live stream us, and Claire Clinton. Shall I give you my posh title?
Posh one, please.
Oh, yes.
Director of RE and RSHE.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll go to the internet. Rat, do you want to introduce yourself? Put your sound on.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. It's Rakesh Sampler. I'm the Met Police Faith Officer for Newham.
Thank you. Alicia.
Hi, I'm Alicia Lewis. I'm on the teachers panel.
Taranum.
Hi, this is Taranum from Ranelagh Primary School, and I'm on the teachers panel.
Joe.
Is it me this time?
Joe.
Joe was just unmuting herself.
Oh, I think I heard a Joe. It was an echo. Hi, I'm Joe Matthias. I'm at St Stephen's School, a teacher there, and I'm also on the teachers panel.
I wasn't expecting to see the next person. Ruth, how are you?
I'm Ruth Everett. I'm a school Darson advisor with 2 extra letters after my name tonight because I've just achieved my MA.
Yeah.
So yes, hello. Sorry, Claire.
No, we're an education committee. This is great to hear. And you're okay?
Thank you. I am awaiting further tests, but I am really pleased to be with you.
Brilliant, lovely.
Pleased to see you.
Asma, wonderful to see you.
Hi, I'm Asma Hussain. I'm a teacher and I'm on other faith panel representing Shia Muslims.
And Charmin.
Hi, I'm Charmin. I used to be a teacher in Newham, but now I am representing the Sunday Muslims.
Look at it in his bag. I bring it.
Like he's so at the moment.
Okay, so I think Yale's not muted.
Extra sound. Charlotte, tell everybody what happened over the summer and why did you make me cry?
Got married.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant. She sent me lovely pictures, which made me cry in a good way because she looks, not that she does look gorgeous always, but she did look very, very special.
Oh, thank you.
See you so happy.
Lovely. Well, that's everyone we can see. I know there's some other people that are in the background because they're on the list.
Yes, we've got Yale in the background, I think, as well, haven't we?
Is that last person?
Oh, and Charlene's coming in.
Brilliant.
We had I mean, this is to one side, but Marie and I yesterday, there were 35 of us, which included Taranum and it included Charmin, who's about to appear. We had our first face-to-face primary network meeting. And it was so lovely, wasn't it, Taranum?
It's good.
So Charlene is also on the team.
Claire did try keeping us apart, away from each other. It didn't work.
I tried socially distancing.
My God.
They're all over each other. Brilliant. Right.
Okay, well, we will head on with our agenda. The agenda has stayed as it was published. I don't know that we've had any apologies for absence.
Yes, just a few. So, editorial today. Rob Ryan continued apologies sort of from when the agenda is published. Councillor Pushpa Makwana.
Thank you.
And I had one, sorry, Antonella, that came in from Chetna Gandhi Hindu festival today. She's very busy.
Thank you. In terms of the agenda, is there any declarations of interest from anyone?
Nope.
No, fantastic. With the minutes, they're not here for this meeting. So what we'll do in our next meeting is we'll do 2 lots of minutes, if that's okay with everybody. And then we'll move on to our next point, which is student RE.
So Katrina was going to appear. So can we?
We can skip on and go back.
Not there yet, is she? Did you send her the Zoom link, Antonella?
I think whilst Antonella does that, then would you like to talk about the 2001 Sacre priorities?
Yes.
Perfect.
I would love to talk about the 2001 Sacre priorities. So I suppose this is just showing where we've got to in terms of our priorities. So the annual report, we've got most schools now having filled in their monitoring form, and actually they've really liked doing it as a Google form. It's made a lot less chasing of schools. And even though we did it electronically before with emailing them, I think the fact that they can go on something and do it instantly and it's all done, they really, really have liked. So I would suggest that's something that we go forward with. I attended and ran the training last week for Sacre on the new annual report template. So I've been working with the DFE for the last 18 months to write a new revised template for writing annual reports for Sacre so that it's updated and in line with how schools are working. The DFE have signed that off now. So we did some training last Thursday evening. We had about 60 advisors on that. And
I'll send it to Katrina.
you did.
I'll do it again, shall I?
No, that's fine. I can text her and see where she is. Oh, she's not in the waiting room, is she? We'd see if she was in the waiting room. So, yes, so we will have a slightly new annual report that you will see. I will email it to everybody for comments and thoughts before. Katrina says, I haven't got a Zoom link. I'll say, try your spam.
Just sending it again.
Yes. So, of course, we haven't got exam analysis again in the same way because we have reports as an authority. But the good thing of that, I hope you looked at the GCSE analysis, is that we have more people sitting GCSE the last 2 years here in Newham than anywhere else in the country. And we've also got the best GCSE results of anywhere in the country. Yay, well done. Hooray, our schools. So actually the pandemic, I've always thought that we must be pretty high up there, but you don't know, do you? You just don't know. It's only because the DFE have let out figures in terms of borough that we've been able to see that. So that's a nice thing to know, even though the pandemic has been awful. You know, it's been a positive. Membership of Sacre, we're reviewing tonight our constitution and looking at, do we need to develop any friends of Sacre that we use at different points? So we're doing that tonight. Lots of work going on supporting good RE in schools. We ran our poetry competition really successfully. We have put on my website, the RE Matters website, the new, all the winners and all their poems from last year. So schools can still access that. We've taken all the children's names off so they're not identifiable. And we handed out yesterday the new place of worship posters and postcards.
And also running 3 network meetings a year that is helping support good RE in schools as well, and all the training that normally happens with place of worship and supporting ECTs and things like that.
Yeah, so we're doing all of that. There's lots going on. I have still got my job as the RE consultant. I've just signed another contract. Yay! Good. Thank you, the council. And the last thing is our new agreed syllabus. And all that work is going on in the background. We've done loads, but it's all going to come at you sort of midway in November. And we've got this extra meeting, which we'll talk about later. Is it the 2nd of December, which is the important one where we decide to agree the new syllabus. So you need to carve out some time to read that and look at that. But there's lots of people here, especially the teachers, who are revising and improving schemes of work. And I'm working at the moment on the agreed syllabus text. I'm taking next week off as half term in order to work through half term because then I won't have any teachers emailing me or phone calls. So this was my great plan of, not that I don't love teachers' phone calls and emails, but when you've got a big bit of writing to do, Ruth will know this, sometimes you just need a bit of time, don't you, Ruth? So that was my great plan.
Lovely. Does anybody have any questions or comments about Sacre's priorities for the next year? No? Fantastic, thank you for that. We were now looking at monitoring of RE and corporate worship, Claire.
Yes, I think I've covered that. It's all going on.
Perfect.
Katrina's saying she has it. Oh, she's got it. She's got it. Katrina's coming in.
Coming in, fantastic. There she is. Okay, well then we will say hello to Katrina as soon as she comes in, and we'll ask her to update us on student RE matters. So Katrina, can you hear us?
There she is. She'd probably be.
Hello, Katrina. Take yourself off mute.
Hello.
Hello there. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
We've actually reached your part in the agenda. So I know you were going to give us an update on student Sacre.
Brilliant. Well, that was good timing.
Good timing.
Yes. No, I don't know when. I can't actually remember when I last spoke to you all. Hello, good evening. But with student Sacre, obviously, last year we had to do things slightly differently. Well, in fact, this year we still are. So last year we had one meeting as afternoon conference, which looks at ecology in RE, and that was great. It was really nice to meet with the students and to hear them discussing with different faith leaders who were able to join on Zoom. So that was great. And as a result, we have a pack on ecology in RE that we are hoping to launch very soon. It's all done. So that's good. And we actually have now started this year's project, which is Talking Faith. And so we've been meeting, the plan is that each half term we'll meet with the students. We're hoping to do face-to-face for those who can, but we're also doing hybrid meetings for those who can't. So we had our first meeting last week, and the aim of the project is for the students to deliver an RE lesson into their primary schools in the summer term. So we're very excited about that too, as were the students who came to our meeting on Tuesday, especially those who could come face-to-face. They really enjoyed that experience. So our next meeting is meeting with the faith leaders, and again we imagine that's going to be a mix of in the room and on Zoom, but hopefully the faith leaders are all keen to come and to be part of the face-to-face part. So that's great. We're also then going to recruit for our student Sacre executive, and the schools are talking with their students about that before we meet on the 16th of November. So that's where we're up to at the moment.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. Has anybody got any comments or questions about student Sacre?
No comments. Wonderful.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, so thank you for all the work you're doing, Katrina. Much appreciated.
Pleasure.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks.
We will move on then to the next part of our agenda, which is the NATRE reports on GCSE RE and school workforce data.
Yes. So what happens is every year school fills in how much percentage of time is being spent on RE. So remember, the national recommendation is 5%. So if we look at, and you haven't got the names of the school here, but you know, if you know alphabetical order and you know whether a school's a free school, a community school or an academy, you can probably work out which of these secondary schools is which. Anyway, you can see that I would suggest that the two up from the bottom, which say voluntary aided school, and if you look that they have 10% of time, I would suggest that that's St Bons and St Angela's, everybody, at the bottom of the list with the St. So you can make out what schools are around that, but it tells you how much time is on the timetable. So it's very traditional that RE gets double the amount of time in Catholic schools. It usually gets 10%. So what this leads us to question is some of them, it's not breaking the law if they have time on there. The recommendation is 5%. This is the sort of conversations that I would like you as a Sacre to commission me to go and talk with the secondary schools and actually find out whether the data that the office put down is the correct data. We've had it before. Poor Sarah Bennell, the person filled it in and put naught on everything until GCSE. And I have a feeling that they've done it again, even though we talk to them about they have humanities, which is RE, history and geography. So they do have, where it has 0, 0, 0, I think that's Sarah Bennell. And I know that they have RE, but it's sometimes about the person in the office who fills the form in, whether they know enough about humanities includes RE, or whether they literally look at the timetable and look for RE. To do a piece of work on this, basically, to find out, to show the schools, to say, look, this is, I think, your school. This is the data. It's supposed to be 5%. You know, what's going on? Some of my worries are particularly to do with the percentage that some schools are given GCSE time to do it on. So we know most of our schools are doing GCSE. So if you're only getting 2% of curriculum time to get that GCSE through rather than 5% or 10%, can you really compare your results to another school if you've got only a tiny bit of time? And are they schools where they've only got some people doing GCSE and they haven't got RE going on for everyone else, or RE's on a carousel? So it's really useful information each year, but you do have to go and interrogate it.
Chair, I propose Commission Claire. Could somebody second, please?
Somebody want to second that for us?
Second that.
Fantastic.
Everybody.
Unanimous commissioning.
Just to say, put your hand up if you agree that Claire should be commissioned to do that piece of work. Yeah, everybody agrees on screen as well. Fantastic, thank you. So that is commissioned.
Means in the column where it says philosophy reporting, but not RE.
Yes. Yeah, can you explain that?
So some schools call their department philosophy, values and ethics. It's still RE, but it's what they called it. And again, the person in the office doesn't necessarily know, but thinks, oh, maybe that's the RE. So yeah, it's also the DFE doesn't give any guidance. They just have to fill this in each year in sort of September time to say what's on the timetable. And it's the DFE's way of monitoring that all the subjects should be there that are supposed to be there. So it's a sort of crude method, but it allows for conversation.
Okay, perfect.
What about the ones that have got nothing?
Exactly. So, you know, the free school's got absolutely nothing down, and I know this free school does RE.
So it seems like a technical error rather than...
But it allows me to go to the head teacher and say, oh, I've just been told this by the DFE. I'm a bit concerned, and they'll jump to...
This cannot be true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anything else around that gender item that you needed to talk about? That's that. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so you mentioned when talking about our priorities about a Friends of Sacre idea. Do you want to tell everyone what that's about?
So what I was thinking is it worth in our travels from time to time, or maybe in my travels from time to time, but Anne also does a lot of speaking to different faith leaders through some of the things that you're involved with. And I know that's true for all of us in our different communities. But I was thinking, you know, we have Theravada Buddhist rep, but we don't have Mahana, we don't have other forms of Buddhist representation. And that's sometimes about our community that is here, what's not here. So are there times where we need to go out wider than just our Newham community to ask somebody to look at something? So they're not part of Sacre, but a bit like someone like Katrina pops in, tells us something, gives us an opinion, gives us an update, says, yeah, I looked at the Ramadan advice, or when we did the stuff on Palestine and Israel, or now I will naturally go out to people, but do we want to, some of those people that I go out, do we want to credit as a friend of Sacre? So actually it's in the public domain that these are people that we talk to.
And how would that work? Would it be because it's in the minutes, or
yeah,
there'd be an official list? Or
I don't know whether it would be an official list, but probably Antonella needs an official list of
just so that we know that they're
who they are.
endorsed by you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was just an idea, and we can say no. We sort of do it, but we don't do it officially.
But how would the mechanism work? Would they be invited to these meetings, or I mean, like, would it be on request, or are we just meeting them?
What happens at the moment is I often send them a document and ask them to read it. What we don't do is we don't credit them in our documents as people that have helped us on the way. And I'm just wondering whether we ought to be bit more transparent. So it's not that it's just Newham Sacre's Ramadan document. Actually, we've sent that to the Muslim Council of Britain, and we've gone and talked to this person, we've talked to that person, and they've all either said, yeah, great, or given me little extras, as we do as a Sacre. But often I go out wider than just our group. And, you know, I'm not going anywhere, but I always think, so if I wasn't here, would that happen? And actually, I think that's a good practice.
So maybe starting to put together a spreadsheet of people that you've contacted, their contact, what kind of work they've done for you, so that can carry on. Joshua, I know you were going to say something.
Thanks, Chair. I wondered, formalising this list, would that add responsibility to the committee and to yourself, Claire, as to how we endorse the people who are friends of Sacre? At the moment, obviously, if it's an informalised list, we're getting help from people, but they're not formally endorsed by Sacre. But if we were to follow up that suggestion, would that add a chunk of responsibility that we'd have to essentially check that every single person was legit and DBS and the like, and in order to be confident that they could be formally endorsed as a friend of Sacre, as it were?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? We have our Sacre, how we work together, our ethos, don't we? So I suppose we wouldn't want anybody who wouldn't agree with our methodology of working. So that is something that we could give them to say, at the moment, it is informal, and it might well be that we want to carry on it being informal. But if we had a stage, say, I don't know, say we had a really large, I mean, we do have a large Hindu population. I'm waiting for the new census results, as everybody is, to see actually where we are with everything. But we have in Chetna, and we have in Kishore, 2 Hindu members. No disrespect to them, they're very knowledgeable and hardworking, but they will often say, I can't answer that question, Claire, and I have to go somewhere else to go and find a bit more of an answer. And I have places where I go for that. It's just I never credit it anywhere. And I just think, is that unfair on people who are helping us? I'm not thinking that they would necessarily be at these meetings. I'm not thinking that they would, I'm just thinking if ever I wasn't here, how do you make sure that someone else knows who and where to go to and things?
What's their opinion on the matter?
Haven't asked them. I mean, they're very generous people and they all just help us and are not looking for any credit or role. And actually, if we gave them a role, they'd probably say no, because they're busy people. They will do something as a small ask, as a favour. I suppose it's reciprocal because I do bits and pieces for them as well, but it's not known anywhere.
Anne, what did you want to say?
I wanted to say, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I have never come across a friends of group that actually works. So often they live for 5 minutes and then become distant acquaintances rather than friends. So I think that's the first thing, is the name. The second thing is, I wonder if, I mean, maybe we might call them advisors, supporters,
contacts,
consultant,
knowledgeable contacts, things like that. We might call them. I mean, I think just make a list of. I think so that, you know, when you're promoted to being Education Secretary for the world, we've then got a list that we can pass on to the next person. And again, in my experience, that person will probably find some others anyway, you know, so. They'll have a different group. So I think to make them friends will be the death of them, really.
So I think we're saying we definitely want a list of people who are contactable and are useful in getting extra information or advice about what we've written or what we're deciding, but we don't necessarily call it a friends list, we call it a contacts list. Did anybody on screen want to add anything, or?
Ruth's got her hand up.
No, I was going to say, as a point of contact, I think it's important to have that database somewhere. I agree with the comments around the friends. I think it may be worth, as we know, a lot of these things are relational, and sometimes it's relational with the group, and sometimes it's relational with the individual. I think it would be a good practice to Claire to identify with the individual whether that is something that would carry on relational to the group or whether it is individual. And I agree, perhaps points of contact for advice. That was just an observation. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Well,
yes.
Can I just suggest, I mean, are we, I don't know, because we are specialized, Claire's going to a specialized people, can we call them subject matter experts or something like that?
Subject experts?
I mean, they are. That is what they are.
Yeah, that's a nice word.
Yeah. You know, subject experts.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. And you could have a code as to what they're good for.
Yes. No, absolutely.
Can't put it.
No.
You just have to put a code and then only go to this person in desperation.
Yeah.
Being recorded, don't you?
Well,
that's all.
No, if they make it on the list, they would be useful for that one thing that would be on the list. Yeah. Oh, I like that. We're using the word kosher. Good. Yeah. Great.
Thank you for that. Any last comments or points about that?
There was something in the chat.
Someone's chatted. Thank you, Antonella. Yes, please. Rag rating. I knew you'd be in trouble for saying that. Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Okay, moving on then. It's time to review our constitution, Claire.
Yes.
How would you like to do this?
I just thought we hadn't done this for such a long time that it was probably important that we had a look at this. So I'm going to suggest that I come and do, Antonella, breakout rooms for those who are on here, and then we can do a male and a female room down here because it works very, very naturally.
Good lads.
So we'll just have 5 or so minutes to have a look at our present constitution. So maybe someone can share their screen in.
How many do you want?
Oh, doing it. I'd give them 2.
2?
Yeah.
Do you want them to
It's
sign?
interesting to see.
No, automatically. And it. Brilliant. Open rooms.
Good question. No,
Fine.
screen's too small.
Get an invite. Zoomies. You'll get an invite.
We're going to get an invite to join a breakout room.
So just click the invite and then you can talk. You've got 5 minutes.
Never mind.
All right, lovely.
I'll ask you to bear with me while can you press the microphone, the blue circle?
Press this one as well.
And we're back, thank you. Okay, so I think what we'll do first of all then is hear from group one. What were your thoughts on the two documents that we've just read? Who was in group one? Did you say it was?
Alicia was
in group one? We're volunteering you, Alicia, to feedback, if that's okay.
Look at that rabbit in headlight look.
Yeah, well, actually, I didn't have the document in front of me. I'm not quite sure what the title of the document we did look at was, because we didn't have it with us, so we sort of had it sort of read out. So could someone else?
Of course, we'll pass over to someone else. So we were reading the terms of reference and constitution, and then there was a code of conduct as well that we could have looked at. So who had the document in that group? They might have a Taranum.
We actually managed to read code of conduct and discussed how some members did kind of visit schools and how in future we could do it. We didn't see the other document, I'm afraid.
You had to go on 2 pages. Don't worry.
We agreed to the points that we're on code of conduct. It really is.
Thank you. Okay, and how about group 2? Who was in group 2? Who wants to volunteer?
Want me to?
Thank you, Joe. Go for it. Brilliant.
I would confess we did the same thing. We found the code of conduct, but didn't look at the other bit. But the code of conduct, we did all think it still was very relevant, and you know, covered everything that we all do, and the way to do things. I don't know if it's on the second document, the terms of reference and constitution, but I think just one question came up about the place of worship and judges, and you know, the code of conduct maybe about that, but I don't know if that's relevant or not. But yeah, we were all in agreement with it.
Yeah, I think that would fit more with the code of conduct. I think the those of you that have got your papers in front of you, it's on page 33 and 34. Apologies, I should have given page numbers before sending you out to your groups. It just talks about the objectives, the composition of our group, which is obviously made up of the LA panel, Church of England panel, other faiths, and the teachers panel. But then Claire made the point as well that we do have additional people who have roles within the borough that come along and offer their expertise to us.
Like RAC.
Like RAC does, yes.
Or RAC.
And it talked about how we are quorum, and it also talked about attendance and how that's important as well. And I think that was the main thing that we talked about in this group. But did anybody want to add anything else to what we spoke about in the room?
We definitely wanted to, I think Antonella and we need to download from the Sacre website the 2 now model letters that have just been produced. One, if somebody doesn't appear and there are no apologies, that we have a letter that immediately goes out to say, you know, you weren't at the meeting, apologies weren't being given, our next meeting is on X, and if you don't appear, then you are removed from Sacre, because we have got some people that, in a sense, are just not appearing and we're not doing anything. Yeah. And the second letter on the Sacre website is then the letter that if they don't appear on that second one, then sort of, you know, says bye-bye, thanks, no thanks sort of letter in the nicest way possible. So I think we should have a system, and that probably needs to, we have, where a member has not attended for 2 consecutive meetings, but we've got it in there, but we don't do it.
Yeah, so I think I absolutely agree. We need to tighten up on that and make that more consistent and official. Yeah. Joshua, did you want to say something similar or add to that? Or
I had a question about quorum, and I wondered, given the period that we've gone through and the hybrid nature of our current meeting, whether we might consider relaxing it, because I didn't realise that quorum was at least one member from each panel, as opposed to having a minimum number of total committee members. And I wondered if we're going to continue having hybrid meetings, the quorum could be adjusted so that we guarantee that all meetings will be quorum, because that's always the nightmare. If we adjusted it so that a meeting could be quorum if at least X number of people are in attendance, i.e. maybe 3, and the 4 panels are represented in the hybrid meeting. So that if, for example, nobody from a panel could turn up, but one of them was on Zoom, the meeting could still go ahead with 3 people, as opposed to the meeting therefore not being quorum. I wondered if the Constitution could allow us that level of flexibility.
Definitely, you definitely need someone from each panel to be able to
contribute,
do any of the work. But is there anything
That's a point.
official in it having to be in the room?
So I've been doing this with the DFE for the last year. So basically it's up to each LA to decide whether people being on Zoom and somebody being face to face all equals quorate, or whether people physically in the room need to be there, plus all the other lovely people to be quorate. So at the moment, the advice that we've got in Newham is that to be quorate, we needed to have the 4 panels here physically. Okay, so hence it was really important who turned up tonight. But I do know other Sacres where they don't have to have all 4 panels to be there. They say 3 out of 4 to be quorate. So we could change that. Ruth sits on many other Sacres, so I don't know about her experience, but I do know from some of my other advisors that some of them, they say, actually, yours is quite tough because you've got to have somebody there from each. Why haven't you got 3 out of 4? Okay, well, that's the way it's always been here. But I do like the idea of Josh and what he's saying, that could we push the LA to say that as long as we have, if we want to keep 4 being quorate, that can be hybrid or face to face.
And with regards to the advice from the council, I don't wish to preclude it, but the advice that we've received with regards to council meetings is from the newly renamed Department for Levelling Up Housing and Communities, and they may have given the council different advice than the DFE have given you.
Right.
Your advice is coming from the DFE, and the Sacre's power, if you like, is granted by the DFE and not DLUC, which is the new acronym for MHCLG, then that's the reason the advice may differ. But it should mean that quorum can be obtained with having a minimum of 3 in the room and the rest of it being up to us as the committee to decide.
So Antonella, I'm going to write that onto here. 3 in the room and quorate via Zoom and room.
Do we have the authority to agree that here and decide that here?
No, we have the ability to write this up and then send it to the council
option, yeah,
to say this is what we would like.
Okay.
So what we need to do, and we can just do a vote, we don't need to vote in our separate groups, unless there are other things that we also want to add into here. We have to officially do a vote, but I don't think we need to break into 4 groups to do a vote. But I think we need to raise our hands to say we're agreed on that, and we'll put that to the council.
Is there anyone that's got any concerns about that, about there not being a representative from each of the panels actually in the room? No. Okay.
I don't have any concerns, but I mean, yes, I do agree that we must have some flexibility because of the mitigating circumstances and the situation we're in at this moment of time. In the future, we could also review that in the next review.
Okay.
But for the meantime, like Josh said, we should have some flexibility, and I think we should push that to the authorities and see their feedback on the subject.
Thank you.
Take it from there.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll do our vote then. What we're voting for is we're saying that we agree that Claire will take it to the local authority, that there would be a minimum of 3 people in the room, but they wouldn't necessarily have to be from all the different panels, as long as there was someone from all the panels with Zoom included. So if you agree that that's what we can ask, then please raise your hand.
No.
Yeah, Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Well done.
Yeah. Perfect.
Anne and I had a few thoughts just on our Newham Code of Conduct, and really that the first Newham Sacre encourages all its members to, we think that should be a sentence, to attend all the Sacre meetings and take a full and active part in its work, full stop, you know, or colon, so that we can then have the 3 bullet points underneath. Yeah, by. Sentence.
And then the 3 bullet points are how they're going to do it.
Yeah. Sorry, what are we referenced to, Claire?
This is on page 31.
Page 31.
That's prime.
I've just realised it says entail a few.
There we go. This
Entail.
Yes.
We knew what we
How many times do we read that and not realise that that's what it says? Oh my goodness.
I'm going to write intake.
So sorry, this is going to go off now. Sorry.
Oh, blimey.
I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do this. Sorry. I'm going to try and find the agenda so that I can share the screen if I can. So please bear with me while I'll just have a quick look around.
But everything else we thought,
you're happy with?
Yeah. It was just, I think that would improve it slightly.
Yes, because that's what we would like people to do.
Yeah. So you're happy with that to be one full, so the first sentence to just be a whole sentence rather than a bullet point on the first bullet point? That makes sense.
Newham Sacre encourages all its members to attend all Sacre meetings and take a full and active part in its work by
participating in,
expressing.
You're happy with that?
Yeah.
I remember, I mean, it's been about 3 years now, isn't it, Claire, last when we updated this? It's just
years.
It's flown by, isn't it? I remember we had to downsize this because it was a bigger document, wasn't it? And then we had to make it to a manageable.
Yes, it was a tome.
Yeah, I've made notes on here so I can do those things.
I can't see you guys on the screen anymore. So if you have, it's okay. If you have anything that you wanted to say about Code of Conduct, could you unmute yourself and let us know?
On page 35, Antonella.
No one's unmuting themselves. So I think we're good to go. Okay. That's all right. No hands are up. That's fantastic. Thank you.
You'll see people in the gallery at the top, but you may not see everybody, but you will be able to see that document.
Not at the moment.
I think we're okay for the moment, but that's good to know in case we need it again. Thank you so much. Okay. So we've reviewed our constitution. We've got one thing to take to the LA and nobody's got anything else. Brilliant. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about our agreed syllabus working groups and update and plans. And I know you've kind of touched on this already about how it's in the process of being reviewed and teachers are working together to look at the schemes of work and improve and update them, make sure that all resources are available and relevant. Is there anything else we need to know about that, Claire?
I think the dates have been set for the training, and I think this will be good to go in our minutes, and it would be really good to go into your diaries as well. Obviously, you're welcome if you're free in any of the days to attend. But Monday, the 20th of June, I'm going to open my diary and just check. So Monday, the 20th of June is the primary training day. These will all be held at, I think, Elmhurst Primary, because it's the only place that we've got a big enough room that we can fit everybody. Tuesday, the 21st, will be the early years training day. Wednesday, the 22nd, will be the secondary training day. And Antonella has managed to get into the council diary. The 23rd, Thursday, the 23rd, will be our official launch. So we will train the schools and we will have an official launch on the 23rd of June. Please put it in your diary now. I think we've got East Ham.
We're in here, but it's in the public hall.
In the big hall.
So it's in the big hall just down the road, which
and what time?
It's going to be available.
So 4:30 to 6.
4:30 to 6.
It's because we'll have some pupils doing a few bits and pieces, so I can't do evening. I need to get the schools from school to here to perform.
Are you expecting us to attend all of these or?
No, I definitely want you at the Thursday.
Sorry.
And if you want to come to anything else, you are more than welcome.
Yeah.
Sorry, Claire, could you repeat the dates again?
Thank you.
Yeah. So we start on Monday, the 20th of June with a primary training day. We then have Tuesday, the 21st, an early years training day. We then have Wednesday, the 22nd, secondary training day. And then we have the official LA launch. And we've got it, I think, in the Mayor's diary as well. 4:30 to 6 here at East Ham Town Hall in the public big room.
Yeah, because the secondary one, my secondary school, I think, is Sarah on there? So she's not on there tonight, is she?
No, she was going to come. She said she was coming on Zoom.
Okay, so I'll make sure that at least she turns up on that one.
Yeah, so that's exciting because we will have lots of things to celebrate at that point. It'll be exciting.
Fantastic, thank you. I'm just thinking around about that time as well, we'll be finishing off the Places of Worship competition. But before we talk about that, is there anything else from the poetry competition? I know you gave us a brief outline at the beginning. Is there anything else you need to say about that?
Just that I think it was really successful and the feedback from schools has been really positive of the way that they used it to help pupils' well-being, I think, in lockdown. And I think it does give us a beautiful range of poems that could be used in collective worship. And we might want to think of, you know, reminding schools about those maybe in the new year, that there is a range of poems around that theme of hope of all different ages. When I'm doing faith leaders training on the 18th of November, I'll share the poems with the faith leaders as well. It might be nice for some of them to just see, you know, what the pupils created. I'm putting it in my diary now.
Okay. Yes.
I found it interesting when I went to Monica that they'd even gone on to early years, and all the early years children were doing poems. And they're, you know.
Yeah. And at Elmhurst yesterday, we were sharing a child who was only 5 had written a lovely poem about hope as well. Yeah. So if you structure it properly, even the youngest children could join in, because maybe we'd been a bit concerned that a poetry competition might exclude EYFS, but actually it didn't. Yeah. Brilliant.
Teachers are just amazing, aren't they, in what they can scaffold and help. But all those poems are on my website. If you go to RE Matters, there's a whole tab that Katrina's done this week with all the poems, hope poems on there.
Hector, what did you want to add? Sorry.
Yeah, just on the Agreed Syllabus sort of costing there. The CD-ROMs is there.
Yeah, we're not doing those. Yeah, no.
Take that out. Yeah, thank you for noticing that.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that. But teachers, do you know what? It's really interesting. They don't want a CD-ROM, but what they want is they want it on a USB still. So we won't be doing CD-ROMs, but we will be doing USBs, even though it will be digital and in a cloud.
Yeah.
They just
people still like tangible things.
And can you remember last time the council wouldn't pay for the printing of the books? And what we did was we cut costs in other places so we could print the books because everybody wanted one. And I remember Sacre members being really disappointed that there wasn't enough for them to have one, as well as the schools. And I was like, I'm sorry, but I've only got so much money that I can scrimp to find. So I will try and make sure that we all get a printed copy this time.
Thank you. Okay. No other comments about that? Okay, so this year we're going back to the art competition with the Places of Worship, and I'm guessing that the judging time is going to come at a very similar time to when we launch our Agreed Syllabus as well. So how are we fitting that all in, Claire?
So we're going to move the Place of Worship celebration into early July. rather than the middle or end of June. Usually it happens towards the end of June. What we're doing is we're shifting that on into July, and looking at probably, she says, probably the 6th or the 7th of July, that's sort of somewhere around there. We will hold it at the school that wins the most places. I've already got schools vying for, can we have it at our school? I'm like, no, we have to wait and see who wins first. So it's nice that schools want the prestige of holding it, isn't it, really? But yeah, so we have to wait a little bit to see who's winning. The competitions are coming in, entries are coming in at the end of May. So I think I'll be asking Sacre members in sort of early June to do some judging. And I think our judging has got better and better over the years. I think that's partly because we've done it a few times, but also breaking it up so different people can do different bits, because there is quite a lot that comes in now. So we'll do that before the training. So my idea, Marie, is that judging straight back after the half term, training that week of the 20th, celebration 6th or 7th of July.
Fantastic, thank you. Any comments or questions about this year's place of worship competition?
Can we see the poster?
Yes. So, Antonella, I can show Anne the poster.
I think I didn't
Lucky Anne.
bag after yesterday, actually, so
Brilliant.
it was meant to be. Okay.
I'll go and put it closer to the screen.
Give that to you.
Yeah, and then people can have a look.
You want to pass them around that way.
So,
Thank you. Lovely.
Oh, that's quite nice.
I'll try and get it. Do you want a hand?
Up the same
Shall I go up the step?
Yeah. Don't fall.
Very
And then we've got a couple of
isn't it beautiful?
This is beautiful.
I
as
know,
That's what I've been
Yeah.
looking.
and my mother would have been.
And Marie chose teal.
She's new
That's great.
Good colour.
court dressmaker.
Very nice.
And the
Stunning,
girl,
aren't they?
some of the girls.
So
You got to see it then, that's good. I'm glad I didn't empty my bag from yesterday yet.
Thanks.
Very welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think the next thing we needed to talk about were the remaining dates for this year. Got a very busy year because we've also got to meet a couple more times as well. So the dates and the venues for that. Where are we, Antonella, with being able to meet and go to different places?
We're okay for venues, apart from the February meeting, when we have a clash with another council meeting, and we've been asked, what did I just do that?
we're due to meet on the 9th of February.
And we've been asked to ensure if we could look at another suitable date, if possible. Well, actually, that's not 53, is it? If I just try page 3.
Scroll down a little.
So we've got,
There we go.
another date of 1st of December, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's the 1st of December.
So it was the 2nd of December.
Isn't it the 2nd of December? Is it the 1st? Have I got it wrong in my diary?
It's a Wednesday or a Thursday. I've got it for the 1st.
Have you?
Yeah.
I've got it here.
Actually, I had it written in the 1st and then I've written it in for the 2nd. So is it definitely the 1st then?
Okay.
If you need me to change that.
No, that's fine.
Western time.
So it's 1st of Wednesday then?
Yes, yeah. So we could make sure that everyone's got that in their diary as the 1st of December then, rather than the 2nd.
Right.
Because
That's really, really key. And that's what we needed to talk
we're going to
about.
talk about date timings for that one, because might be a bit of.
You say the 1st of December?
Yes.
I'd have to send apologies, I'm afraid. I've got a theatre committee meeting that day.
Okay.
Still good for your soul.
Sorry?
Still good for the soul.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Right.
So in terms of timings for that meeting, because you wanted to meet a little bit earlier if possible, didn't you?
Well, I didn't know whether people could meet any earlier on a Wednesday. It's just that I'd rather start earlier and give ourselves a little bit of extra time.
What's earlier?
Well, it's a really big document, and if people have, it just takes a while sometimes to get through.
Is this the agreed syllabus or what are we talking about?
The agreed
right.
syllabus. It's not like a normal Sacre meeting.
No, right.
So it's the final text that we've got to sign off before it goes to council and cabinet and things.
So Claire, are we in person for that?
I don't think we have to be, Ruth.
Nice if we want.
It'd be nice, but I'm very aware that that is not possible for everyone at the moment. And so I think it will be hybrid, but it would be great if people could come. I don't think you should. You live very far away.
So are we thinking about starting that meeting at 6 o'clock?
Well, does that, what I want to know is that impossible for people? Could we start at 6 just for a one-off?
Yeah.
We could try. With my situation, with my bank, I've been posted to a project in Manchester. I have to frequently travel up there, working from Dubai as well. So, but I'll try to manage that somehow.
Okay.
If I can. Yeah.
Well, let's put to start at 6 then.
Okay.
And we'll do our best to get as many people there for that as possible.
If it's it's formal.
It is. It's a legal meeting because we become an agreed syllabus conference. So Sacre becomes this other thing to pass the thing that Sacre's been working on.
In that case, you're bound by you have to start within 15 minutes of the time that you list.
Yeah.
I was wondering, because if it was just a gathering to look at that, but if it has a formal status, then the 15-minute sort of.
So if we know that we're starting by 6:15, it's not that people can't make a contribution if they come later.
But as long as we're core at the start.
But we need to be corporate for 6:15, so that's the bit that we need to work on.
Yes. Or if you list it for 6:15, then you've got till 6:30. But then we're eating into
No, it's getting late.
Yeah.
Say 6.
Yeah. You never know, we could be out by 7.
Yeah, exactly.
Could be a hope.
You never know. I think it sounds like a chocolate biscuit meeting.
Yeah, it does. I think definitely we will need refreshments at that meeting. Yeah,
Where are we
we'll
going
sort.
to be?
Are we going to be here for that one, Antonella, Gina? Yes, East Ham. Okay.
Right.
Okay, and then you were saying for the 9th of February, you need us to consider a different date?
If possible, if you are able to look at another date, that would be very helpful.
Half term is the week of the 14th.
Yeah,
so I think we've either got to go to the 23rd or we've probably got to go to the 2nd of March or the 9th of March.
Would it be okay just to stop screen sharing this for a moment? And just try and.
What else is going on?
I'm just going to. Obviously, it's my place. I don't know where I picked that up from, whether it was from this edge. Oh, it's on the edge. Okay, that's fine. So, in that case, I know what I'm doing now.
Maybe anyone on one of the Faiths panel as well can just have a quick look and make sure we're not going to clash with any
festivals.
The one is coming up March this year.
March.
It's only one, yes. So I think if we do place in February, we should be okay.
Yeah.
So it's maybe 23rd of February.
Yeah, I would need to give my apologies for the 23rd. I've already got another Sacre.
Of course you have.
But there's someone I have actually, yeah. There's someone else from the CV group, so don't worry about me.
So it clashes with audit committee, as you can see on that screen. Shall I try screen sharing that?
And if we go to the 23rd, we're going to clash with the Education, Children and Young People Scrutiny Committee as well.
Yeah, I'm on
the
that.
23rd is out.
Okay, 23rd is gone.
Can we go one week earlier?
Meeting because I only couldn't make it. I'm not on it now.
I've got Barking and Dagenham Sacre in the morning, followed by the secondary network meeting, which finishes at 6.
Okay, you can just say no, it's fine. Yep.
So if everybody can see now, that's what we know that is happening in February next year so far. There may be other things.
So is it bad that we're clashing with the audit committee?
Is it because of venue?
It's venue.
Okay, let's keep the date and let's go to a school.
We may or may not be able to webcast it, that's all.
If you've got internet, why would you not be able to webcast it?
I think it's a single channel on YouTube.
But we'd have to make sure that was arranged first. So I'm quite happy.
It isn't easy because we did it.
As long as we can.
Or a place of worship.
Hook onto their Wi-Fi, and then I'd need to do a couple of tests, but I'm happy to do that. That would be the only thing, just making sure.
Because I've done 2 hybrid meetings now, so I'm beginning to.
Hybrid meeting.
By the 9th of February, you'll be an expert.
And I bought today a wireless Bluetooth, a microphone, so that whoever's speaking, it picks it up. You know, I mean, it's not that. Anyway, it's not like this around the room, but it does mean that we could pass it to people so everybody on Zoom could hear.
So we're going to keep the 9th and we're going to change the venue to be confirmed.
So,
and then
who's our friendliest school or place of worship? Who would?
Plashet.
I was going to say Plashet. I felt bad because I always go to Plashet for everything.
We'll come to.
Let's try Plashet first then.
What day of the week is it?
Wednesday.
Yeah.
I've been to Sparks for ages. They got Wi-Fi.
That's sitting there. Shares in front.
I know, it's always the thing, isn't it?
We're going to ask about St Bart's.
I'd love to return.
St Bart's.
Yeah.
Okay, so to be confirmed, but possibly those 2.
Good morning, Eleanor.
We just had a complaint about small chairs in primary school.
I mean, no, they're used to.
Oh, yeah.
They have lots of meetings. It's been an academy, but yeah.
You just need to go to the year 5 or 6 class.
Okay. Do we need to think? Are we meeting in East Ham for the 8th of June as well? Is the 8th of June our other Sacre?
Yes, 8th of June is our other Sacre. I suppose if we met in a place of worship for whichever or school in February, we could swap over again in summer. I'm quite keen that we get back into our
the rotation.
Going round. Yes, our third.
So depending where we are with the pandemic, possibly a place of worship by June 2022. Brilliant. Okay.
Does that sound okay?
Sounds lovely.
Did you say the 8th of June 22?
Yes.
May have to also send provisional apologies for that meeting.
Tell me, Josh, what's going on?
Send him that letter.
You can only
I'll have to send you a letter.
I'll be on honeymoon.
Oh, okay. So, okay, we could condone that. We could condone that. Yeah.
And there's lots of other things that you can attend in June and July anyway, so I'm sure it will be
So don't worry.
Late June, I'm good. I'll be back then. Yeah.
Okay. In terms of the Sacre training, do you just want to briefly tell people what's available?
Yes. So I'm organising this national training programme. So it was really funny, wasn't it, Antonella, last week, because we had an email that I'd written to go out to all Sacre clerks. Which was telling them about the new agreed syllabus, and Antonella did exactly what she was supposed to do. It was like a test that she didn't know, but she CC'd on to our Director of Education and Social Services and put myself in it, saying, oh look, there's this, and then I was able to say, yes, I'm leading it, and I've done it with the DFE, which was nice because he would never know that otherwise, would he? So that was.
But equally, in a funny sort of way, I thought, well, do you know, I'd copy you in anyway, because if I'm contacting anybody within the council, I think it's good to have an audit trail of what's being said or what's being communicated. So I thought, as much as anything else, it was just polite, you know.
So is there anything you'd recommend people here to attend?
Well, one of the workshops that was done at the Sacre conference in May is being redone on the 10th of November from 7 to 8, which is with Ruth Flanagan, who's a great presenter from Exeter University, on what do Sacres need to know and understand about worldviews. Really making sense of the conversation that's going on in the RE community about religion and worldviews. Now, that, you know, we've got that within our agreed syllabus anyway, but if it's a term that confuses people, this would be great. She heads up teacher training at Exeter University. I've already done the session with her. She came and did a different version of it for my secondary leads last February, and that was fabulous. So she's done a different version of it for Sacre members, but I would really recommend that. And then Marie has training on the 18th of January about how to be an effective chair.
How about she needs to?
No, that she needs to. She'll be able to contribute. And then in February, I have got a date for that, actually, even though that's an old flyer. We've got Trevor Cooling and Stephen Pett, who are heading up a big piece of work to write exemplar schemes of work for schools. So they're talking about worldviews in February. And then in March, as if I haven't been doing enough, I've also reworked with some of my Sacre colleagues, the toolkit for self-evaluation of your Sacre. So it's all super duper and marvellous. It's on the website, but we're doing some training on that. So, you know, anyway, you can get to any of these and go to them if you want to, and they're recorded, and you can get from me the Zoom link if you ever want to watch it at another point.
Thank you.
Sorry, Claire, can I just I'll reiterate the thing around the worldviews. I did it at the national conference, absolutely worth doing. Claire, I've got a note in mind that is paid.
Yes, Newham has subscribed, so
oh, it's not paid on top of your subscription then?
So there was a one-off £50 for the year for all of those that councils could buy and into, and then as many members of Sacre could go to as many as they'd like.
Well, I'd really urge people on that one. It was absolutely fascinating, even though I had some knowledge going to it. So if you can spend an hour on the 10th of November, it's a really insightful hour that will stimulate your thinking.
Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you for that. That's fantastic. Is there anything else from the Sacre that you need to share with us?
No.
Okay.
That is everything.
Brilliant. That is everything then. So thank you very much, everybody, for your time tonight. It is much appreciated. Thank you, Claire, for all the work that goes into these meetings. And do you want to?
Can I just make a couple of announcements, please? The first thing is that Interfaith Week this year will begin on Monday, the 15th of November. And in Newham, we're hoping to have our famous bus trip round the place of worship, because that was such fun last time. We had a wonderful time. Thanks largely to Claire, it must be said, who sort of paved the way for us. But we thought we might go to some different ones this time. But it was so successful and just lovely. So that will be taking place probably Tuesday or Wednesday. There will be a follow-up discussion on the Israel-Palestine situation, guided by a group called FODIP, which stands for People Discussing Israel and Palestine somehow. And that's on the Thursday, the 18th at 8 p.m. There will also be, we hope, a film, but yet to be decided. So that's good. And the other thing I want to tell you, the next meeting of the Newham Forum of Faiths will be on Wednesday, November the 24th, and it's going to be about violence against women and girls, and particularly from the position of faith, because we all know that there are some odd views, particularly in Christianity, about what what women should be doing and not doing and things like that. So that's November the 24th, and it will be, I think, at the Tudor Road Mosque. But, you know, there'll be plenty out and about it, or do contact me, or Rack is a very faithful servant of the Forum of Faith, so do contact him. He knows, Claire knows, you know, if you want to come, please come along. You'll be very welcome.
Actually, it's really good that Anne's mentioned, because it flicks me onto Interfaith Week. Newham teachers, Taranum, were you part of the group? Is she gone? She's still there. No. When we met with David Hampshire to look at collective worship, so they're writing a new resource for this week, for the week for schools, for something every day for primary and secondary schools. So they came and did all their ideas with us, and then we said how we would use it or not use it, what we liked, what we didn't like. So we're waiting for that to come out after half term.
Brilliant.
So we're quite excited about that, because they've now produced a week of primary materials and a week of secondary materials, which I've advertised to all the schools, but the collective worship will be really nice as well.
Brilliant. That's great.
Thank you. Yes.
One thing, just information-wise, really, because and for the purpose of Claire, I had my one-to-one with Linda in my Sacre, so I'll be taking on the role of the national treasurer role.
Yes.
Michael Metcalf. Shadowing him at the moment, and
you'll be up for election, I think, in May.
So that's the lineup, and Linda and I will expect detailed discussion.
Fantastic.
She's happy with the role, and Michael is currently winding down, and the responsibility will come to myself. So looking forward to that.
You have to be very careful, because everybody feels it's a bit of a Newham takeover. So I have to, they're all like, can we have someone else from Newham? And I was like, well, you've been looking for a treasurer for 5 years with somebody who's willing.
Hens too.
I mean, so hats off to Michael and the team who's doing that work, actually. Some of the stuff, because of my background is banking, I was
Banking, I see.
some of the stuff.
Yeah.
Fatal, shouldn't it?
It is challenging.
Yeah. But it's good work. So well done. Fantastic.
And another point, Anna, Shah would circulate all the faith meetings and group within our group, on that.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, keep communication up.
Yes, thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Well, thank you again for everyone that's attended. Hopefully see more of you in person next time, all being well. But please enjoy what you've got left of your evenings and of your evening, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.
Thank
you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Good night.